Well, listen up. They say that marriage coaching or counseling is too expensive. What do you say today?
Hmm.
It's very important what you say. What you say is what matters. Many times we'll find in marriages, we'll find people who get to a point where they've hit roadblocks and they've hit stumbling blocks and they've hit places where it seems like everything they're going through is too much to handle. And I just want to encourage you and let you know that your spouse is going to be the greatest relationship, one of the greatest relationships that you'll experience down here on earth. Who's going to be there with you when nights are hard and we get sick or we go through situations where we need that spousal support? Who's going to be there with you? That one person that has decided when they said I do, that they would go through it with you. They go through the ups and the downs, for good times and bad times, for better times and the times that are not so good, times in sickness and in health. All those vows, those commitments that were made, that person is the person that is designed to be there with you. Who else is like a spouse? Who else can stand that in that place? Today we're talking about, they say that marriage coaching or counseling is too expensive. Now, I want to ask you a question. Who are they? So many times we've heard they say, and they said this. Too many times we lean on too many opinions, and those opinions really don't amount to anything in our life worthwhile. And we lean on people and we hear too many voices, and sometimes you just need to shut out all the voices.
Yes,
you just need to have one mind, and you need to have clarity in your thinking. You need to be able to say, you know what, I need to make this decision for myself.
Yeah.
But what they say is that marriage counseling coaching is too expensive. But I just want to let you know, and we came to let you know today, that if you've hit a rocky place and you've hit a place where you have to reach out beyond yourself, if you've hit a place where you found that things are not going smooth or things can't be worked out and you need that third party mediation, then this may be the time.
Yes.
I'm Mike, and this is Carol Bird, and we are marriage development strategists, and we're here for leaders. We're here to talk to the leaders in business partnerships and leaders that are in marriage and leaders that are going through struggle and leaders that just don't know where to turn and don't feel like you have a safe place to turn. And you're in leadership and you have to continue to lead. And it's not always easy, and we feel your pain, but we're here for you today.
Yeah, that is so a delicate subject to many, and it's reality and it's truth. They do say, some say, and like my husband said, who are they that say that it's too expensive? We found that there are three probably major reasons why people will automatically go and say it's too expensive. One is that the person feels that they don't want to expose themselves to a stranger. So they feel like it's not going to work for them because they don't want to be open. They don't want to be transparent. They want to expose whatever they've gone through, living with, or dealing with total strangers. The second is they don't want to invest the time. That is important. They don't want to invest the time into the therapy. They think that it's going to take a long time. It's going to take up all their time, and they really don't want to invest time. And then the third is they don't feel it's going to work.
Yeah.
They don't feel it's going to work because they've tried other therapy, they've tried other counselors, they've tried different things, and they feel as though it's not going to work for them. But let me share a little of our story on why all of those things really can be just knocked out of the window. And it has to become personal. It has to mean something to you as well for your marriage. It has to be where you're ready to look at yourself and take things to another level and get the best out of yourself. many years ago, many years ago, right before we got married, and we've been married 23 years this year. So right before we got married, my husband's job presented an opportunity for him for something he was going through, that to go to therapists, to go to therapy and everything. And so, of course, for a lot of people, depending on your culture, that may not be like the most sound thing to do. It may be kind of taboo to some, especially all those years ago. Now it's more prevalent that people go and get help. And then we try to justify whatever it is, but it's not a bad thing. So when he was presented from his job because of a situation on his job to go through therapists once a week. So I would go with him, and of course, because it's like kind of taboo and you don't really understand. I would go with my my book, my Bible, my book, and I kept my head down the whole time. He would go into the office with the therapist, and I would sit in the waiting room, and I would just sit there and just read, and then you almost hope that don't nobody else come in to see that you're there or whatever, right? So, and he would always come out like it was pretty good, like it wasn't a bad thing. So one day, the therapist said to me, "Come on in the the room. You need to be in here as well." First, I was like, but he said it was cool. I was like, okay. So I went in. Can I tell you, it was the best experience that I ever encountered, that we encountered together. Every Tuesday at 7:00, we were on time, ready. It was like the highlight of our week to be right there in that therapy session. In that therapy session, we had the privilege of really finding out about us, got clarity on who we were as individuals, and then how it was going to affect both of us and how to bring it all together. The best experience. We learned a lot. It helped us to develop and become stronger in our marriage and our foundation. We spent an entire year every Tuesday in therapy, and we enjoyed it. Now, if you would have told me before, I would have been like many who say it's too expensive. It's that, I don't want to share my feelings and my emotions and let someone else in to know about my inner parts of me. I was a private person myself. I'm like very private. And still to this day, I have things that just stay, it's my privacy. And so seeing a therapist was like, I don't know if I want to share everything, but I sure look forward to sharing everything and learning about me and the things that triggered me, that helped me, and for him to learn about him, and for us to come together and it solidified the unity that we already knew we had. It solidified so much in our relationship. It made us better people, better for ourselves and better for each other.
That is so well said and so well put. And we went through those therapy sessions, but we had objections.
Yes.
We had so many objections. We had so many things that made us feel uncomfortable. We didn't really, like you said, we didn't feel like being vulnerable. We didn't feel like exposing private areas of our life and what we'd been through and what our childhood was like and what we had gone through. And we needed to expose those things. So through third-party mediation, it allowed us the opportunity to be transparent, but for somebody else to see from a different perspective than what we were able to see. And this is why many people say many things. And yes, they say that marriage counseling or coaching is expensive, but we challenge you that if you've hit the place where you need help, then you need to reach out beyond yourself. And you need to get that help.
And then sometimes it's not that things could be bad, because it wasn't nothing bad between us.
That's a good point.
But sometimes it is like an awakening. It's like an opening up the most beautiful flower to really find out all of the things that make the flower as beautiful as it is. And that's what it was for us. It wasn't that something was wrong. It was such an enlightenment to help us in all the areas. And and the thing is that people look at us today and say, you can't be that happy all the time. We beg to differ. It's not that marriage is that our marriage is like the most perfect thing, but we're perfect for each other.
Yeah.
And we learned a lot in our therapy that made us become stronger in our relationship. So it doesn't mean that you have to have something wrong. Sometimes you need to work on things before they can go wrong to make sure that they don't go wrong.
That is so good. And so many people are just out there. You're in
Yeah.
leadership. You're in leadership capacity. People are looking at you. And you know what? You just may need a tune-up. You just may need somebody to run this by or run that by. You need people in your life that you can be accountable to,
Yes.
that can take you and raise you to the next level.
Yes.
And raise you to the next position of where you need to be and where you want to be. And that's what we're here for today. That's what we're here for. We're here for all